with Ma and me from the Health Tune-Up. We're back for another episode, just trying to bridge the generations with great conversations. So we decided when we were talking about this that all you have to do is ask. So that's what we're doing. We're asking each other so we can learn about each other and actually have a legacy and understanding of who we are from a first person point of view instead of having any regrets of not understanding certain things. So it's an adventure, and today's adventure and conversation and question is, did you have an imaginary friend?
In my childhood?
In your childhood. I don't know, maybe you have one in your adulthood.
No, I don't, but I did in my childhood. And I can't.
It's okay too, you know.
Yeah, but I did have one, and I insisted that I wouldn't go anywhere without this person. I can't remember. It was just an entity. It wasn't a boy or a girl, and I really can't remember its name. It's something like Debo or something like that. But I can remember my dad saying, well, don't forget Debo. And so we'd go somewhere, and if he wanted me to do something, well, Debo's doing it, so you can do it. So they went along with my
Could you sit on Debo accidentally?
No, but he sat next. It was a him, I think. He sat next to me.
So what did Debo give to you that you had to have an imaginary friend? So what did Debo provide for you at the time?
Security. As long as he was there, it was okay.
Because you weren't alone?
Yes.
Even though there were other people around?
Well, I just felt...
They weren't Debo?
No, they weren't. And I didn't feel as if they were on my same level. I was little, small. So this was another small person, too.
You understood each other?
We understood each other.
Did you feel like you were misunderstood as a child?
I didn't think that until I was older. And then I realized that, hey, you know, I did want certain things, and that I wasn't understood why I couldn't do it. For instance, my mother had her heart set on me playing the piano.
Sounds familiar.
And so, because she played the piano and the organ. So I was to play, and I was a little girl. I was in first grade and came home one day, and there was the piano, and I was to learn. So we went to the piano teacher. She put silver dollars on my hands. I was a little girl, and made me practice with it. And I just hated it. And I remember the look on my mother's face when I said, I don't want to do this, Mama. And she was so disappointed in me that I didn't want to do that.
But you made me take violin lessons.
Well, they had a thing.
Didn't you learn something?
Well, I tell you, she chose a violin at school when they had this round table of instruments, and the kids ran around, and she chose a violin. We were so surprised. We thought, Angela wants to play a violin. Well, okay. It turned out to be not good. But we thought that's what you chose. Oh, yeah. Otherwise, we never would have done it. We wouldn't have thought to do it. I mean, it just didn't ever show any interest in playing a violin.
But you're a very creative person. So what other creative things did you do? So you created a whole imaginary friend. That takes a lot of creativity and imagination. So were you able to nurture that creativity as a child?
Well, I like to dance, and I took some ballet when I was little, but I just danced. I mean, they're taking pictures of people, the families all lined up like this, and then I'm dancing across in the background. I mean, I just loved it. I loved the physical thing of dancing. Didn't have to have music, just loved to move around in my own dancing world.
Well, it's freedom.
Right. But it was creative, you know, I could be anything I wanted to be.
Sure.
So it was an imaginary thing too. I sound like a really weird child.
Well, I love that you wanted me to qualify childhood as a child, so you may have an imaginary friend now.
You never know, but I don't. But could happen, you know. And why not if you want to have one?
Well, if it helps you feel secure.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. There's something
I don't know
there.
when it went away. I don't remember when suddenly I didn't need him anymore. But it was very nice to have this when I did have it.
Did you ever dream of Debo?
No.
Yeah.
It was simply a physical thing.
Interesting. It's a way of feeling safe. Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, I didn't have an imaginary friend.
Yeah.
But I did have an overwhelming frustration that I could not have full conversations with plants.
Well,
and I used to look forward to and dream about full conversations with all the plants in the nursery.
Oh.
When we would go to buy plants maybe twice a year as a family. And I remember feeling like as I stood next to the tree that there was a whole conversation going, and somehow I wasn't allowed to hear it now. But at some point in time, in some other space, I could hear it.
Well, I think that's wonderful.
But it was very frustrating because I feel like it's a skill set that didn't follow me into this lifetime.
Right. I think, though, that plants do respond to people talking to them. Whether we can hear what they say. Sometimes if you rub their leaves and a little bit, they sort of blossom out and show that they're pleased, that they're getting attention.
Yeah, plants. Well, a lot of like Bach remedies, he said he spoke with plants and they told him whatever their medicine was. So
well, you plants out there, here's somebody that would like to talk to you.
There are conversations waiting to be had.
Why not?
And I got into Chinese medicine, which deals with herbs. So it makes sense. I mean, it's one of those things where it's one of my earliest memories.
Yeah.
So it's not like I got trained into thinking this way. I came into the world built like that, where I would stare at a plant and think, why can't I hear you?
Oh, I never knew she did that. So
yes.
Here's something that I never knew about her. She never knew about me, and we never would have known had we not been talking about it, right?
Right. Well, and the reason why we've had that. So for me, it was a frustration because I felt it was a gift that I didn't come into this lifetime with. And that's from when my earliest memories, 3-4 years old. But it was a frustration, not a security. I remember having sensing, energies around me as a little girl. And I remember talking to the energies saying, I'm not interested and you're not welcome. And I never had those problems again.
Yeah, I had the same thing, but I was older. And my family was very interested in all the energy people and the psychics and all this. And so we often had them coming and speaking and coming in and out of the house. And I learned early on that this wasn't for me. And I did the same thing. I just simply this is not for me. And I respect it, but it's not. It doesn't make me comfortable. So no. I had the same thing.
Yeah, interesting. Well, is there any questions that you have in regards to any kind of creativity or imagination or anything that you found mysterious about me?
Well, let's see. I thought that you would like to have dolls.
I wasn't into dolls.
Right, but I thought you would like to have dolls. I like dolls.
No.
And I got her dolls, and she did things like cut off the eyelashes and do things to them. Actually, she loved her her brother's Tonka trucks in the dirt in the backyard.
Yeah.
But I insisted on treating her as if she's a girl that liked dolls. They had sat on her bed, and they never were played with. So,
I like to touch the earth. I'm a very grounded person. So I found it very relaxing, actually. So if you think back for all the trauma that was going on, it was a way of self-treating myself.
Well, that's a good thought.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd go out into the dirt, and after 20 or 30 minutes, I'd feel very mellow and grounded. It's actually a great medicine.
It is.
Called grounding. But children, we tend to do things to help ourselves without realizing that we're treating ourselves.
You had the earth, and I had a spare friend. We used it.
Yeah, right? That's right.
That's interesting. So, I always wondered why you didn't really like dolls.
Well, it's not that I didn't like them. It's just they weren't real.
Well, that's true. Well, that's true.
For me, it would have been much more important to have some real connection at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So the doll just represented more of what I already had, which wasn't your fault. You guys were busy triaging a lot of emergencies with my siblings. But I already knew what a doll had to offer me. What I wanted was the real deal.
Yeah.
So for me, it held no interest to me at all. I wanted the actual real connection, or I could go find other things to do, which I did.
Yes.
So.
And her doll stayed in the closet. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I understand better now. I didn't know that about her. So without our talking back and forth, that we wouldn't have known that about
That's
her.
right. And that's why we're doing these, is to try to open up conversations between generations. There are a lot of people out there like me and like my ma, different generations. We got a 51 and 81, and you've got 31 and 21, and you have all these generations. And there's so much that we could share. Why not do it while we're all here and alive? I can't go back and resurrect my dad. I would love to have these conversations with him.
Yeah, he would have liked it too.
I think it's important for families and friends to connect and have connection. In this day and age, technology is fantastic, but we also need to connect, like actually connect on a real level with each other.
And we have to,
it's medicine.
Respect the other person's viewpoint.
Yes.
And we might be shocked that they feel a certain way, but that's the way that person feels. Right.
We got to have respect and acceptance. And there was a saying that I saw this week that says, you can't hear unless you listen.
Right. You have to listen.
You have to listen.
Really listen.
Yeah. And ask questions. All you have to do is ask.
That's right. If you don't get any
We
answers.
can't project what I think you might be thinking or feeling.
Right.
And likewise. Right. And so that connection is important. And that's why we're making these, to encourage everyone to communicate and connect with the people that they love. So I think this was a great little tidbit for the day. And maybe you can go find one of your family members and corner them and ask them a few interesting questions. That why not?
And be prepared to answer their questions.
That's right. Who knows what will come out?
Yes.
So, all right. Well, until next time, from Mommy, this is the Health Tune-Up. Bye-bye.
Bye.